Hi everyone, I hope you all are safe and healthy. So finally the most awaited video is up here. I know you guys have been waiting for these videos since a long time, and yeah, I was not able to shoot these videos. I was not able to solve the questions, take out time to solve the questions. So finally I got some time, and today I'll be solving the questions with you all. So there were a lot of questions that have been put up in the comment section of the previous video. I had asked you guys to put up those questions which are creating problems for you and you want me to solve them through a video. So yeah, I got a few questions. Some are case study based and some of them are normal MCQs. So I decided to divide the whole in two parts. First of all, I'll cover the MCQs that have been asked, and the second video I'll cover up the case studies. So for case studies, I'll see if there are more case studies, then I will create parts for them. For example, for audit I'll cover in a single video, and for law I'll cover in a separate video. But since MCQs that have been asked are only 5, 4 from audit and 1 from law, so I'll quickly cover them up in this video. And in case you have doubts in those questions as well, so you can just watch this video to see the logics why a particular answer has been selected. And yeah, we can just start with them. Before I start, I would like to tell you the question number, so that if you don't have any doubt in these particular questions, you can just totally skip this video. You don't have to watch this fully. You can just directly move on to the question that you have a doubt in. I'll just put the timestamps as well in the description box of this video, so that you can just quickly watch them and you don't have to waste any time, right? So for law we have only one question, that is question number 103, but for audit we have 4 questions. I'll tell you the question numbers quickly. First one is question number 110. If you have a doubt in this particular question, you can directly move on to that question through the timestamp. Second question that has been asked is question number 113. Third question is 121 and question number 122. So these 4 questions of audit would be covered in this video, and this question from law will be covered in this particular video, right? So let's just quickly cover up all these questions and you'll be through with them, right? So let's solve question number 103 of law first. So in this particular question, this question is basically from section number 165 of Companies Act. See, this question was not very tricky. We have solved these type of questions earlier as well, but I know which point you might have missed, because of which you have a doubt in this particular question. So let's just clear it up while solving. So let's start. So I have already mentioned the summary of this question, because when I was solving the question myself, I have this habit of scribbling. So all the scribbling part I've already done in this PDF, so I won't write anything specifically, but yes, I'll just quickly highlight the points while I read the question, so that you'll be able to understand where I am reading, right? So let's start. So the question is question number 103. Prince is holding directorships in 20 companies, of which 7 are public companies. So there are 20 companies in which Prince is holding directorship. So he is a director in 20 companies. Just may say we have 7 companies which are public companies, and out of these 7, 3 have been categorized as dormant companies. So see, once you have completed a line, you should always, in these type of questions specifically, if I say, you should always make flow charts like this that I have made on the left side of the page. For example, first line says you have 20 companies. I've already discussed all these things in the other videos as well, and I'm repeating it again just because you are facing a doubt in this question, which means you were not able to crack it, right? So you need to break the question in part or a flow chart, so that it becomes easier to understand and you're able to apply the provisions to that question, right? So in this question, if we see, we have 20 companies in which the person is a director. Now out of these 20 companies, they are saying 7 of them are public companies and the rest of them are others, right? So here we have 7 public companies which I have mentioned over here. Now the second line that they say is 3 have been, out of these 7 only, like among these 7 public companies, there are 3 companies that have been categorized as dormant companies. So see, here I have mentioned 3 and I have written D over here, signifying that these are the dormant companies. Now why have I put a cross on this 3? You tell me. As per section 165, if you remember, you don't take dormant companies into consideration while you are calculating the number 20. That is the maximum number of directorships a person can hold. You don't have to include dormant companies and Section 8 companies into that, right? So these 3 companies will not be counted as a directorship holding by this person, right? So in this case, he is a director in 17 companies only. Clear till here? यहाँ पर एक चीज़ क्लियर हो गई कि वो भी 17 कंपनीज में ही डायरेक्टर है. वाई? बिकॉज वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू इंक्लूड these 3 companies because they are dormant companies. Okay, now what is written over here? Further, in 2 of these 7 public companies, he is holding alternative directorship. So even if he is an alternate director, do we consider them or do we count them in the maximum number of directorships that we can hold? Yes, alternate director होना भी director होना ही है. They will be counted as a directorship. Okay, now he, तो इससे आपको कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. This will be counted, right? यहाँ पे मैंने उसको टिक कर दिया as yes. Next, he has been offered directorships in 8 more public companies. Okay, so now if you remember that for public companies there was this restriction that okay, you can hold maximum number of directorships in 20 companies, but you have to be sure that out of these 20 only 10 maximum public companies can be there, right? Apart from, you have the option to be in director in 20 companies, but you cannot be director in more than 10 public companies. You have to be sure about that. So I have written over here maximum 10 for public companies, right? Now he has been offered 8 more public companies to be a director in, right? Okay, now choose the correct alternative form or the following options where he can legally hold the directorships in all these newly offered 8 public companies or not. So see, you have to crack this question. Now you can crack this question easily. How? You have made this flow chart. You know that out of 20 companies, 7 of them are public companies and the other companies are 13. Now out of these 7 public companies, they are saying 3 of them are dormant, which means you will not count them in the maximum number of directorships calculation, which means you are a director in 17 companies, which will be considered for section 165 की applicability. Not applicability, but will be taken into consideration while calculating the maximum number of directorships that you can hold. Okay, now you are being told that out of these 7 there are 2 companies which are the companies in which you are not a normal ordinary director, but you are an alternate director, which is okay. You will count that. There is no confusion. Now we are left with only 2 other now we are left with 2 other companies, which means about which nothing is mentioned, right? So these will also be taken into consideration. So which means you are a director in how many public companies as of now? 4 public companies. Okay, how many maximum number of public companies offer you can accept? Maximum you can accept 10 public companies offer, provided that your maximum number of directorships cannot go beyond 20, right? Now in this particular case, कोई भी बंदा क्या बोलेगा कि we still have option to take you know accept directorships in maximum 6 public companies, which is right. But you missed one point, that you are already a director in 17 companies and you have been offered 8 more public companies to be a director in. So now how many option do you have, how many options do you have to pick up? So you have only 3 vacant places wherein you can become the director. Why? Because the number 20 cannot be exceeded, right? You can become a director in more than 3 companies, like you can become the director in 6 public companies right now, but the issue is that you cannot become a director in 6 public companies because the limit of 20 will get exceeded if you accept the offers from 6 companies, because this can be only 3, right? This cannot exceed 20. आपके पास स्पेस तो सिर्फ 3 का ही है ना, इधर आपके पास स्पेस है, आपके पास अवेलेबिलिटी है 6 की, बट हेयर यू कैन ओनली बी द डायरेक्टर इन 3 कंपनीज. अंडरस्टैंड दिस? ओके, सो इन दिस क्वेश्चन आई थिंक आप लोगों ने यहीं पर थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक किया होगा कि आप लोगों ने 6 सोचा होगा कि 6 में तो बन सकते हैं ना, बट नहीं, 20 से तो एक्सीड नहीं कर सकते थे ना, ये भी तो सोचना था. ठीक है, सो लेट्स चेक आउट द ऑप्शंस. फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज अलॉन्ग विद एग्जिस्टिंग 20 ही कैन बी डायरेक्टर इन ऑल 8 न्यू कंपनीज, बिल्कुल गलत हो गया, राइट। नेक्स्ट, बीइंग ऑलरेडी डायरेक्टर इन 20 कंपनीज ही कैन नॉट एक्सेप्ट, गलत हो गया, क्यों? क्योंकि इन्होंने डोरमेंट कंपनी को एक्सक्लूड नहीं करा, इसलिए ऑप्शन गलत है। नेक्स्ट, अलॉन्ग विद एग्जिस्टिंग 20 डायरेक्टरशिप्स ही कैन बी द डायरेक्टर ओनली इन 6 न्यू कंपनीज। देखो, मोस्टली पीपल मस्ट हैव सिलेक्टेड दिस पर्टिकुलर ऑप्शन, बट दिस इज रॉन्ग। द ऑप्शन इज डी, that along with 20 directorships he can be director only in 3 new companies because of the maximum number of directorships ki limit, which is 20. You don't have to supersede that, you cannot supersede that, right? So jab bhi aap question solve kar rahe ho, you have to be sure that you remember or recall the provisions well and then apply the provisions to the question. Otherwise you will eventually tick on the, select the incorrect option and you will lose marks, right? So I hope you got the question now. Whoever has asked, I don't remember the person's name, but whosoever had doubt in this particular question, I hope your query is resolved now, right? So let's move on to audit questions. Let's start with 110 first, and then we'll move on to the next questions. I'll just quickly open it up. Okay, I've solved it here as well, because when I was solving the questions I scribbled a lot, and that is why it's already solved here, right? Now, CA Kamal is a statutory auditor of Auto Cover Limited for the financial year 2021. The company is engaged in the business of manufacture of car accessories. CA Kamal noticed that the inventories of the company amounting to 46 crores, which is equivalent to 25% of the total assets of the company at the end of the year, do not exist. 46 करोड़ की इन्वेंट्री एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती, और ये जो इन्वेंट्री का अमाउंट है दैट डिनोट्स 25% of the total assets of the company. Also, sales amounting to 33 crores, which is equivalent to 10% of the total sales during the year, have not actually occurred. 10% सेल तो हुई, 10 टोटल सेल्स का जो 10% पोर्शन है, which is equivalent to 33 crores, does not even occur during the year. You have showed that you have sold 33 crores worth, you have made 33 crores worth sales, but you have not actually made them, right? Now, CA Kamal noticed both the material discrepancies just before the finalization of audit report for the year ending 31st March 2021. CA Kamal considers that the above misstatement would distort the true and fair view to a greater extent. Okay. What is the correct course of action that CA Kamal should consider in such a situation? See, यहाँ पर आपके जो keywords हैं वो ये हैं that this particular discrepancy which he found, in fact both the discrepancies, they are material. First thing that you need to notice. Secondly, if you see, the amounts are quite material, right? So वो देखने में भी लग रहा है, percentages से भी लग रहा है, and he has mentioned or specified in the question as well. Secondly, if you see this line, that this particular misstatement that he has mentioned above distort the true and fair view to a greater extent. That is, what does this mean? This means that the objective of the auditor is what? The objective of auditor is to give a true and fair view. He has to give an opinion whether the financial statements present a true and fair view, right? So in all material respects, right? Now अब यहाँ पर if we see that the misstatements will distort the true and fair view of the financial statements, and which means these misstatements are what? These misstatements are pervasive in nature, right? Secondly, we see they are material. So this misstatement that we are considering over here, both of these are material as well as pervasive. This is clear from the question. Now you have to select which is the correct course of action that Mr. Kamal should consider in such a situation. So if I read the options, first option says that CA Kamal should consider withdrawing from the engagement or issuing a disclaimer of opinion for financial year 2021. So if we see here, for financial 2021 they are saying कि disclaimer of opinion दे दो, या तो you should withdraw, resign कर दो. Now इस case में why this option is incorrect, I'll tell you. Disclaimer of opinion आपका तब जाता है when you are unable to gather the audit evidences regarding whether the misstatements are pervasive in nature or not, material in nature or not. In this case, you are able to draw this conclusion that you are able to obtain the evidences that these misstatements are material in nature and they are pervasive as well. So in this particular situation, can you give a disclaimer of opinion? You cannot give a disclaimer of opinion, right? So this option is discarded. Second option को पढ़ने से पहले let's read C and D, because already know that B is the correct answer. I've already marked it. So let's first of all understand why C and D are incorrect. Then you'll be able to appreciate option B more. Let's move on to option C first. CA Kamal should ask the management to explain both the discrepancies in the notes to accounts, and he himself should highlight the matter in the key audit matter para of the auditor's report. See, you must have already covered the standards of 700 series. In those standards, one thing was very clear, that whenever you have to modify your opinion, you have to modify it. You cannot just say that I am reporting this particular matter in the key audit matter or in the emphasis of matter or in the other matter para, and I am relieved of my responsibility of modifying the opinion. No. If you have to modify the opinion as per the essays, you should modify it, no matter whether you are describing that matter in some other para. It's irrelevant if you have not modified the opinion. First thing is that modification of opinion is not an alternative. Or rather I should say that the other paras like key audit matter, emphasis of matter, yeah, other matter para, they are not the alternatives for modification of opinion. You have to modify your opinion if it is required, right? Here what they are saying is कि management को बोलो that you mention this particular misstatement in the notes to account and we will mention it in the key audit matter para, and it's done. No modification required. Is it right? No. You cannot consider key audit matter para as an alternative to modification of opinion, because in this particular situation it is very, very clear that modification of opinion will go. Now we'll have to decide, after deciding कि modification जाना है कि qualified adverse या disclaimer इसमें से क्या जाएगा. पहले तो decide होता है कि modified जाएगी या फिर unmodified opinion जाएगी. इसके बाद भी decide कि अगर modified जा रही है तो qualified adverse disclaimer में से क्या जाना है ना. तो यहाँ पर ये चीज़ क्लियर है कि unmodified opinion तो किसी हालत में नहीं जा सकता, because it's distorting the true and fair view, right? Now नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज क्वालिफाइड एडवर्स डिस्क्लेमर में से क्या जाएगा, तो डिस्क्लेमर भी नहीं जाएगा. ये भी हमारा डिसाइड हो गया. वाई? बिकॉज वी आर एबल टू ऑब्टेन दी एविडेंसेस. जब हम ऑब्टेन नहीं कर पा रहे होते देन वी मूव ऑन टू डिस्क्लेमर ऑफ ओपिनियन, अदरवाइज नॉट. नाउ वी आर लेफ्ट विद टू ऑप्शंस, दैट इज क्वालिफाइड एंड एडवर्स. नाउ the last option, the D option, is saying that you can give a qualified opinion along with the specific mention of the matters in the emphasis of matter para in the auditor's report, along with the appropriate disclosure in the notes to accounts to be made by the management or auto cover limited. See, ये लाइन ठीक है कि emphasis of matter में जाएगा और जो है मैनेजमेंट अपना नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में दिखाएगी. नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में दिखाएगी इसीलिए वो emphasis of matter para में जा सकता था. इट्स ओके. बट यहाँ पर लिख दिया क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन. क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन कब जाती है? क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन जाती है जब आपका जो मिस स्टेटमेंट है वो मटीरियल है बट इट्स नॉट परवेसिव इन नेचर, इट्स नॉट अफेक्टिंग द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एज अ होल, है ना. बट यहाँ पर तो इट्स वेरी वेरी क्लियर दैट द ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स इज एट स्टेक. कैन यू गिव अ क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन एंड जस्ट एम्फेसिस ऑफ मैटर पैरा वुड डू जस्टिस? नो. So in this case it's very clear qualified opinion भी आपका out हो गया. Now you're left with only one option, that is adverse opinion, and that's not an option actually, that's logical as well. Why? Because the evidences you have gathered or the opinion or conclusion that you have reached clearly shows that the misstatements are material as well as pervasive in nature. So let's read option B now. CA Kamal should consider issuing an adverse opinion and mentioning both the material discrepancies in the basis for adverse opinion paragraph of the auditor's report. This will do justice to this situation. I hope you are now very very clear about option B. I have seen a lot of comments on a lot of videos. People always ask me that they are confused about how to solve these questions where they are asked which opinion should go in this particular situation. See, there is no hard and fast rule, or there is no there is nothing I can teach you in this. What you'll have to see is this is purely based on essays. If you are thorough, confident with the 700 series, you're logically, conceptually clear with them, you'll be able to solve these questions easily. So what you need to do is you need to understand the essay 700 series बहुत अच्छे से. It's very very important, बहुत important series है, बहुत अच्छे से समझना ज़रूरी है. नहीं तो you will always have this doubt or you will always feel underconfident while solving these type of questions wherein you are asked to choose the best course of action or which opinion should go in this particular situation. So if you want to become confident, you'll have to take a grip over 700 series. Otherwise these will always create a problem and you'll always be in a doubt whether I've selected the correct option or not, because you'll be doing it tukke se, bluff. You'll not be able to solve it logically because you are not clear with the concepts. So conceptual clarity is very very important in these type of questions. Please consider this. Please revise essay 700 series बहुत अच्छे से. Understand the 700 series आराम से, because it's easy. Once you understand it, it's easy. All you need to do is you need to give time to that. You need to understand it conceptually, logically. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. I hope this question is also clear to you now. Let's go to question number 113. Okay. So question number 113, the audit team has obtained the following results from the trade receivables. So here we are talking about the trade receivables, accounts receivables, circularization of naming company for the year ended 31st March 2021. So in this particular case, you have been given 5 customers and they have given you the balances as per the sales ledger of the company, and they have given the balance as per the customer confirmation that they have received. Okay, and they have given you the comment regarding the differences which are noticeable. Okay, so let's move on to the first customer they are talking about. The first customer is AM company. In this case, the balance as per the sales ledger is 225 and the balance confirmation that the customer has given is also same. They are both matching. Correct hai. Next, if we see, there is one more sample jahan par they have the sales ledger also shows the same figure as the confirmation amount. So here they have mentioned one remark that balance of 45,000 is currently being disputed by AP company. Whether they are liable to pay it or not, that is not yet confirmed because they have disputed it. Okay. Next, if we see AN company, there is a balance of 350 as per my ledger, that is company's ledger, but as per the customer confirmation they say that it's 275. Why is there a difference? The difference is because the invoice that has been raised on 29th of March 2021 must have been received by the customer maybe later, right? So there might be a case that they have not put up the invoice in their system and according to them they have to just pay 275 as on 31st of March 2021, but as per the company they are eligible to receive 3,50,000 because they have already raised the invoice on 29th of March 2021. That's okay. Next is AO company, 620 as per the sales ledger and 480 as per the customer not satisfaction, it's confirmation. So here the comment is payment made on 30th of March 2021. So the customer has made a payment on 30th of March 2021. So as per the customer they are already relieved of the amount that they have already paid, right? But the company might have not received the amount because it was paid in the last days, like 30th of March. Maybe they have not received it, maybe they must have received it post 31st March. So that is quite possible, right? So in this particular case they are saying that they are eligible to receive 6,20,000 from the customer, which is fine, no problem. AR company की अगर हम बात करें, so यहाँ पर as per the company they are saying that 178 is the balance, but the customer is quite busy, he has not replied, he has not given any confirmation to us. Okay, let's see what are they trying to ask. First of all, the options, we'll move on to the options later. First let's understand the question. Which of the following statements in relation to the results of the trade receivable circularization is true? We have to answer we have to select a option which is true in this particular case. So let's read the first option. The first option is no further audit procedures need to be carried out in relation to the outstanding balances with AM company and AP company. Which ones are these? So if I see the AM company and AP company, so they are talking about these two particular samples wherein my balance was matching up. So they are saying they don't need to perform any further audit procedures. So do you think this statement is true? No. Why? Because maybe it's okay that the balances are matching up, but don't you see a comment over here? A balance of 45,000 is currently being disputed by AP company. So don't you think you need to perform some additional procedures to confirm this? What is the dispute? Whether company is expecting to receive any amount or not, what are the customers expectation, ये dispute का क्या मतलब कैसा क्या लग क्या रहा है, who will win this case, right? ये देखना पड़ेगा. Secondly, why are their balances matching up? If they are saying that we won't pay, for example, 50,000 to 45,000 to you, right? And they are saying no, we are eligible to receive 45,000. So why are they showing the same amount in their ledgers? Customer is also saying that we are liable to pay 535. The company is also saying that we are eligible for 535. So where is the dispute? If there is a dispute, whether they have mentioned anything about this dispute somewhere in the financials or not, right? So we need to see this. आप क्या कह सकते हो कि आपको कोई further audit procedures perform करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है? No. Even though the balances are matching up, हो सकता है ना आपको किसी particular entry में doubt हो जाए, आपको check करने का मन कर जाए. It's quite possible. तो आप ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि no further audit procedures need to be performed in relation to these balances just because the balance confirmation and the sales ledger show the same amount. No, you cannot confirm that. तो ये option आपका हट गया, discarded. Second option, the difference in relation to A and company represents a timing difference that should be agreed to pre-year end invoice. Before I move on to B option, let's first of all understand C and D, because we know, right, कि B option correct है, but तो C and D समझते ना पहले. The difference in relation to AO company represents a timing difference and should be agreed to pre-year end bank statements. See, यहाँ पर ये बोल रहे हैं कि जो difference है AO company का, which one is my AO company? AO company. They are saying this difference is because of payment, right? So यहाँ पर what do you need to see? You need to see whether the payment which was made by the customer on 30th of March 2021 has been received by the company on a later date, maybe after balance sheet date, and the amount that has been received is the difference of these two amounts, that is 6,20,000 minus 480. अगर ये difference इन्होंने pay कर दिया है, basically you need to know that the difference has been paid by the customer and the company has also received it. It's okay, they have received it at a later date, but they have received it. So ये आप चेक करोगे पोस्ट ईयर एंड बैंक स्टेटमेंट से ऑफ द कंपनी. तो यहाँ पर जो लिखा हुआ है द डिफरेंस इज बिकॉज ऑफ अ टाइमिंग डिफरेंस एंड शुड बी अग्रीड टू प्री ईयर एंड बैंक स्टेटमेंट. तो प्री ईयर बैंक स्टेटमेंट से कैसे चेक होगा? मेरे हिसाब से तो इसमें आपको पोस्ट ईयर एंड बैंक स्टेटमेंट देखना पड़ेगा ऑफ द कंपनी जिसका आप ऑडिट कर रहे हो, एंड यू हैव टू सी वेदर दे हैव रिसीव्ड द अमाउंट, और जो अमाउंट होना चाहिए दैट शुड बी द डिफरेंस ऑफ दीज टू, अदरवाइज आपका बैलेंस मैच नहीं हो रहा है ना. सो यू नीड टू सी दैट. तो यहाँ पर मुझे ये थोड़ी गलती लग रही थी, इसलिए मेरे हिसाब से ये ऑप्शन सही नहीं है. नेक्स्ट इज ड्यू टू नॉन रिप्लाई द बैलेंस विद AR कंपनी कैन नॉट बी वेरीफाइड एंड अ डिफरेंट कस्टमर बैलेंस शुड बी सिलेक्टेड एंड सर्कुलाइज जस्ट बिकॉज दिस पर्टिकुलर कस्टमर हैजंट रिप्लाइड. क्या आपको दूसरा कस्टमर सैम्पल ले लेना चाहिए, उसको इग्नोर कर देना चाहिए? भाई क्यों नहीं रिप्लाई किया? मे बी कुछ गड़बड़ है, मे बी द कस्टमर हैज़ंट रिसीव द कन्फर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट, या कुछ भी रीज़न हो सकता है. तो आप एक बारी चेक तो करो, फर्दर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स को परफॉर्म करके देखो, एक बारी देखो. आप ऐसे नहीं कर सकते दैट सिंस यू हैव नॉट रिसीव्ड द रिप्लाई यू विल जस्ट सिलेक्ट अ डिफरेंट कस्टमर एंड मूव ऑन. यू विल हैव टू सी भाई क्यों नहीं आया रिप्लाई. कई बार हो सकता है ना कुछ गड़बड़ होती है इसलिए भी रिप्लाई नहीं आता. तो यू विल हैव टू सी कि हाँ सेटिस्फैक्शन मिल रहा है या नहीं मिल रहा है, या आप कुछ और तरीके से बैलेंस कंफर्म कर सकते हो. सो यू कैन नॉट से दैट दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टेटमेंट इज कम्प्लीटली करेक्ट. नेक्स्ट आ जाते हैं बी ऑप्शन पे. अब बी क्यों सही है वो समझते हैं. द डिफरेंस इन रिलेशन टू AN कंपनी, इफ आई सी द AN कंपनी, विच वन इज़ माई AN कंपनी हियर, जिसका बैलेंस मेरा आ रहा था यहाँ पर 3 lakhs. इट्स नॉट हैपनिंग, इट्स ओके. 3,50,275 invoice raised on 29th of March. So the company had raised an invoice on 29th of March, but the customer might have not received it by 31st of March. That is why he is saying that I have to pay 275, but the company is saying that they have to receive 350. So इस particular case में what should be your approach? आप खुद पहले सोचो कि आप क्या करते. आप चेक करोगे कि क्या कंपनी ने इन्वॉइस रेज़ कर दिया था. आप इसको चेक करोगे कि इन्वॉइस कितने अमाउंट का रेज़ किया था. क्या जो इन्वॉइस रेज़ हुआ था दैट वाज ऑफ द डिफरेंस अमाउंट दैट वी आर सीइंग ओवर हियर. इफ़ दैट इज़ द केस देन इट्स ओके. इन्वॉइस को अच्छे से वेरीफाई कर लो, कस्टमर से पता कर लो वेदर दे हैव रिसीव्ड द इन्वॉइस एट अ लेटर डेट आफ्टर द बैलेंस शीट डेट. आप इस चीज़ को कन्फर्म कर सकते हो, है ना. सो यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, द डिफरेंस इन रिलेशन टू एंड रिप्रेजेंट्स अ टाइमिंग डिफरेंस एंड शुड बी अग्रीड टू प्री ईयर एंड इन्वॉइस. बिल्कुल ठीक है, जो ईयर एंड से पहले इन्वॉइस रेज किया था उसी की वजह से डिफरेंस आना चाहिए ना 31 मार्च तक. बस वो आप चेक कर लो. इफ़ दैट्स ओके, उतना ही अमाउंट का इन्वॉइस है जितने का हमारा बैलेंस कन्फर्मेशन मैच नहीं हो रहा, देन इट्स रिकनसाइल्ड. इसमें लिखा है ना, इट शुड बी अग्रीड टू द प्री ईयर एंड. व्हाट डज दिस मीन? इट शुड बी अग्रीड मतलब इट शुड बी टाइड मतलब मैप्ड होना चाहिए, मैच्ड होना चाहिए. चेक होना करो कि जो डिफरेंस अमाउंट आ रहा है दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर इनवॉइस विच वाज रेज्ड ऑन 29th of March, विच मे बी द कस्टमर हैज़ नॉट कंसिडर्ड वाइल प्रोवाइडिंग अस द कंफर्मेशन ऑफ. ठीक है, आई होप दिस क्वेश्चन इज ऑल्सो क्लियर टू यू. एंड मे बी सिर्फ ये वाला डाउट होगा कि आई डोंट नो आपका डाउट क्या था इस क्वेश्चन में. आई एम नॉट रियली श्योर, बट आई होप आई वॉज एबल टू क्लियर दिस क्वेश्चन टू यू मोर. ओके, सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 121. लेट्स मूव on to the question quickly. Let's not waste your time. Okay, so I've got it. KPC Limited is a garment manufacturing company having head office in Mumbai, 4 factories, 10 marketing offices across the country. The company uses SAP ERP for almost all its business processes except payroll, which is being outsourced to an agency in Bangalore. Once payroll is processed, data is sent to the HR department at the HO. The HR department shares such details with the finance department at the head office for making the payments. Journal entries are recorded in SAP. Employees complained about incorrect income tax calculation and KPC Limited appointed a CA firm to review the payroll system in detail. So I hope the question is clear. The question is very, very clear. What happens is the company has outsourced its payroll function to some other company, but the employees are complaining about the incorrect income tax calculation, because of which the company has hired a CA firm to review the payroll system in detail, to find out what is the issue. Now, it was observed that the logic of income tax calculation is not as per the requirements of the Act, and when the outsourced agency confirmed that they carried out program changes recently and error may be due to such changes, so the auditor attributed the error of such incorrect software changes to. So, in this particular case, आपको बताना है because of which of the controls are lacking over here, because of which this particular error is occurring. उन्होंने बताया that they have recently प्रोग्राम चेंजेस करवाए थे, अपने प्रोग्राम में थोड़े से चेंजेस करवाए थे, एंड इसकी वजह से देयर इज़ एन एरर इन द कैलकुलेशन ऑफ इनकम टैक्स, राइट. सो यहाँ पर जो मेन आपका पॉइंट है दैट इज़ दिस, दैट देर आर प्रोग्राम चेंजेस. नाउ यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई ये प्रोग्राम चेंजेस आपका किस टाइप के कंट्रोल्स के अंदर आता है. ठीक है, सो इसके लिए मुझे भी अच्छे से अभी फ़िलहाल याद नहीं था, बिकॉज व्हेन आई वाज स्टडिंग तो चीज़ें याद रहती थी, एंड इट्स बीन अ लॉन्ग टाइम कि मैंने बुक्स को हाथ लगाया हो. आफ्टर क्वालिफाइंग आई डोंट थिंक आई हैव स्टडीड एनीथिंग मच एक्सेप्ट वो एससी की रिविजन वीडियोस. मैंने आई थिंक कुछ भी नहीं किया उसके बाद पोस्ट क्वालिफाइंग द एग्ज़ाम्स, इनफैक्ट पोस्ट माय ओन एग्ज़ाम्स, तो इसलिए मुझे भी अच्छे से याद नहीं था. So I referred, but I remembered the chapter in which we had covered such concepts. So I opened up chapter 4 and I checked कि क्या क्या controls के अंदर होता था, because यहाँ पे मुझे ना ये specific line से कुछ लग रहा था कि यहाँ पे specifically कुछ indicate कर रहा है, and किसी type के control में ये word पक्का मुझे मिल जाएगा. So I looked for these type of controls in chapter 4, and I have opened the page as well for you, so that in case you want to check out, you can check that out. Okay, so there is something wrong. Okay, Now it's opened up. I'll just quickly show you where we can get this information. So okay, finally it's open. So if I see the general IT controls, because one of the options over here is of application controls, overall controls, IT general controls and the human oversight. So clearly ये चीज़ तो clear थी कि ये option नहीं है, because यहाँ पे जो आपका system है उसमें कुछ changes होने की वजह से ऐसा हो रहा है. तो ये human oversight नहीं है, ठीक है. It is a type of computer based कुछ आपका control है, that is lacking. राइट. तो यहाँ पर आप जनरल IT कंट्रोल्स का अगर पढ़ोगे, इट सेज जनरल IT कंट्रोल्स आर दी पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोसीजर्स दैट रिलेट टू मेनी एप्लीकेशंस एंड सपोर्ट द इफेक्टिव फंक्शनिंग ऑफ एप्लीकेशन कंट्रोल्स. दे अप्लाई टू मेन फ्रेम, मिनी फ्रेम एंड एंड यूजर एनवायरनमेंट. General IT controls that maintain the integrity of information and security of data commonly include controls over the following. किस पे? Data center, network operations, system software acquisition, change in maintenance, program change. This is what is happening over here. तो मेरा किस टाइप का कंट्रोल है जिसमें गड़बड़ है? Loss of IT general controls. Access security, application system acquisition, development, maintenance, business application भी जिसको बोलते हैं. So see, यहाँ पर आपका जो कंट्रोल मिसिंग है, जिसमें प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, दैट इज़ द जनरल IT कंट्रोल. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस वर्ड यू कुड आइडेंटिफाई, यू कुड ट्रेस कि आपका कौन से टाइप का कंट्रोल इसमें आएगा, ठीक है. सो ये चैप्टर 4 के अंदर है. अगर आपको ये चीज़ नहीं याद थी तो एक बार प्लीज़ गो थ्रू कर लेना. इट्स ओके, हो जाता है. इतना सारा कोर्स है, इतना वास्ट कोर्स है, इतनी छोटी छोटी चीज़ें या एक लाइन याद नहीं रहती, बट इट्स ओके. नाउ यू नो दिस कि ये भी पार्ट है जो मिस हो रहा था. यू कैन क्विकली रिवाइज इट एंड cheer up. It's okay if you could not solve this question. It's okay, right? So आपका यहाँ पर ऑप्शन सी हो जाएगा. oops, my bad. ऑप्शन सी हो जाएगा. जनरल IT कंट्रोल्स आर नॉट परफेक्ट वर्किंग फाइन, जिसकी वजह से दिस एरर इज occurring. Okay, so we are done with this question as well. Last question for this video, question number 122. So let's quickly solve this as well. Let's revise question number 122 now. So in this particular question, what you need to understand is that you must be thorough with the concepts or the provisions that have been mentioned in the audit committee chapter. Now in this particular question, regulation 24A would be relevant because this question is about secretarial audit. Okay, so let's start with the question. The question says RST Limited has a net worth of 80 crores and a market capitalization of 350 crores. However, its ranking is 800 among all the listed companies based on the said capital for the previous year. Now, if you look at this, you'll realize कि यहाँ पर they are saying that this particular company is a public company, which is very clear. But whether it's a listed public company or not, that is going to be clear only when you read this particular line carefully, which says that however its ranking is 800 among all the listed companies. So this clears out that this particular company, RST Limited, is a listed company. Okay, now all the provisions which are applicable to a listed company would be applicable to this particular company as well. Now let's read the next line, which says it has a subsidiary company, PQR Private Limited, whose net worth is 25 crores. Whether RST Limited and PQR Limited, there is a mistake in this particular question. Here they should have mentioned PQR Private Limited, but it's fine. It's a minor mistake, we can just ignore. So whether RST Limited and PQR Private Limited are required to undertake secretarial audit. So for this you need to remember regulation 24A, which says all the listed companies as well as the material unlisted subsidiaries are required to submit. आपको मैं यहाँ पर provision भी दिखा देती हूँ regulation 24A का. So every listed entity and its material unlisted subsidiaries incorporated in India shall undertake the secretarial audit. So यहाँ पर you need to understand first of all that the question is whether this PQR Private Limited is a material unlisted subsidiary or not. So for this you need to know material subsidiary कौन सी होती है, what is the definition of material subsidiary. तो उस केस में होता है दो चीज़ें, या फिर उनकी नेट इनकम जो मटीरियल जो सब्सिडरी है उसकी नेट इनकम क्या 10% या उससे ज़्यादा है इन कंपैरिजन टू द टोटल व्हाट डू वी कॉल दैट, टोटल नेट इनकम या फिर नेटवर्थ। तो दो क्राइटेरिया होते हैं यहाँ पर, या तो नेटवर्थ या फिर नेट इनकम। अगर कोई भी 10% से ज़्यादा होती है इन केस ऑफ द टोटल इनकम और नेटवर्थ ऑफ द लिस्टेड कंपनी, तो उस केस में जो ये हमारी सब्सिडरी है दैट विल ऑल्सो बिकम अ मटीरियल सब्सिडरी। अब इस केस में आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पर एक और चीज़ आपको ध्यान देनी पड़ेगी, दैट द सब्सिडरी इज़ अ प्राइवेट कंपनी ओरिजिनली, बट when we have a public company की कोई भी सब्सिडरी कंपनी होती है तो दैट सब्सिडरी कंपनी ऑल्सो बिकम अ पब्लिक कंपनी एंड प्रोविजंस अकॉर्डिंगली अप्लाई हो जाते हैं। तो यहाँ पर आपकी जो PQ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड है दैट इज़ अ पब्लिक कंपनी एज वेल एंड also it is a material unlisted subsidiary, therefore regulation 24A will be applicable to both of these, and this is the reason why both RST limited and PQR limited will have to undertake the secretarial audit. Okay, so this is this particular question. If you read the other options you will realize that these are incorrect. For direct question था बस regulation 24A and the definition of material unlisted subsidiary और material subsidiary in fact यहाँ पर ये unlisted भी है ना, देखो यहाँ पर material unlisted क्यों बोला, क्योंकि अगर listed होती तो automatically उस पर अप्लाई हो जाता, then you don't have to see whether the subsidiary is material or not, but यहाँ पर you need to see since this is not a listed entity PQR private limited, तो यहाँ पर you'll have to see whether this subsidiary is material or not. If it's material then yes, the provisions of regulation 24A will be applicable, right? So this particular question is also done. So yeah, I'll cover the case studies which are mostly asked by you all in the next video. एक law की case scenario है which is case scenario number 40 which is asked by a lot of people. I mean किसी ने comment किया था and other people have also commented that yes please make a video on case study 40. So I'll try to cover that up in the next video. Along with that I'll try to take up 1 or 2 more case studies if I'll be able to solve them quickly. So I'll just take up them as well. Okay, so stay tuned for the other videos. I'll try to make them as quickly as possible. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope all your doubts in these 5 questions are now resolved and you'll be able to solve these questions if they come in exam, right? So that's all guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care and all the best for your exams.